Hello, Aries, and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. So, Aries, tonight we start with the energy of the Three of Wands, which has everything to do with virtue. This is an energy that is so much about our heart, mind, body, soul, all of these things kind of aligning together, right? And we are operating from that core thing, that authentic being, that true will, right? Our virtues, our convictions. Below, all of the conditioning, all of the kind of going along with the flow, trying to rationalize or reason out or whatever. All these things that we do to kind of go against what we know is right for us and what we believe. This card cuts right through it, right? This is like all of that stuff, right? We are fully listening to ourselves. We're doing what we know is right. And what is right for one person might not be for another, of course. But you are fully in a place of being able to not only hear yourself, but to employ whatever that is, whatever that advice you have for yourself, whatever that yearning, that knowing, you're listening. Okay, now let's go ahead. Excuse me, I'm still sick over here, so there might be a little cough here and there. It is a lingering thing. This has been going for like 3 weeks now. So hopefully it'll be out of here pretty soon. I'm doing all the things, and thank you for every single one of you who has given me advice, what kinds of teas, tinctures, herbs, medicines, all the things. I appreciate you. And I do keep track of those things, right? I write them down. And I do try every single one. Except for the ones that involve alcohol. Now, I really am thankful for those ones as well, but I do not drink. So I don't ever partake in those things. But, hopefully it helps somebody else who might be able to. All right, so let's go ahead. I want to say thank you for clicking on the reading. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I have to say that. The algorithm loves it. So there we are. I'm gonna snort laughing at my own silliness. Okay, so we have a frog right here. Look at that thing. You can see the legs, you can see the body. Here's the front leg right here. So the frog is a really important. Now, this one's a toad, but the frog, the toad, they're kind of interchangeable in my system, right? They are important because they are the protectors of our dwellings. I like to think of these particular creatures as part of the, what I call the backyard spirits, the kingdom of animals and plant life and minerals and all the beautiful entities and consciousness that flows in these natural spaces that we are so privileged to live in, right? I don't care if you're in the middle of the city or if you're out in a cornfield like myself. Wherever we are part of nature. We are fully immersed in it. And we have these creatures who watch over us. And the frog, the toad, is all about doors and windows. You might ask why? Why are they related to that? Well, for me, I guess I've made these personal connections. I am a very superstitious person and very, very much a believer in household deities. Right? Protectors and good luck and all of the things that go along with that. Now, there are deities for all parts of the house, right? The one that's most famous, probably the hearth, right? So that's the fire. That's where the food is made. That is where we keep the house warm, right? Back in the old days. Now, the frog, if you could imagine, sitting out in the garden beneath like maybe a little, there's some, what am I thinking of? Like some plantain growing, or maybe it's, some beautiful ivy, or some little volunteer trees are coming up, and we have this little frog or maybe a toad, and it's sitting over there and it's watching the house, right? And it's seeing, yeah, something's going on. So whenever we see the sign, it tells me to tell you that you need to go check your doors and your windows, okay? Now, not just on the house, check the car, check the garage. Maybe you have like a storage unit or, whatever, a shed. Go check all of those things that are around the property there. I'm not saying that anything's wrong, right? But we all have to kind of walk the perimeter. Now, I'm a very vigilant person, so I'm all about securing the home, right? I am a Virgo, and I am a very earthbound kind of girl, right? And so I'm the one that goes and checks all the doors. I go outside, I check the windows, I check the car, I take a look across the property, just to see every night, multiple times a day. I like to know what's going on. So I'm not saying you have to be, a little bit silly like me and and constantly be checking, but yeah, once in a while we need to go and check. Every time we have the frog, and I mention this, there is always somebody in the comments that says something like, oh my gosh, I just realized I left my bedroom window open when I went to work. Or, oh my gosh, I went to go check the back of the garage and I realized somebody has broken a window back there and I didn't even know. I haven't been back there in, a month. So you never know. It's just important that we continue to do our due diligence, check things out, make sure all the locks are working, make sure the doors are shutting properly, nothing is broken or missing, so on and so on and so on. Okay? Now, we also have, it looks like a Y right here. You can see the Y. But it also looks like we have a heart, and it really does look like it says U, like Y-O-U. And as I said that, I looked up here, there's a U right in the middle. So I feel like there is somebody who is maybe quite attracted to you, Aries. Maybe this is somebody who has a crush. Maybe this is somebody who has been trying to date you for a long time. Maybe this is somebody that, you once were with and it didn't work out, and they still kind of have that whole, what is it called? They still hold a flame for you. Is that the saying? They still are in love with you, right? And so I feel like, this maybe is something that feels nice, right? It is not a terrible feeling for this person to have their kind of attention on you. But I also feel like we have a moon and we have a dog howling, which, by the way, so crazy. Last night, I left our windows cracked while I was sleeping, and it was like, I don't know, 40 degrees. So it was nice and cool. It kept the room cool. It felt good. I had fallen asleep for maybe like a half an hour. All of a sudden I woke up. There were coyotes and dogs and, just going, you could hear it for miles. It just was carrying on and on and on. And I thought, oh my gosh, it scared me. I woke up scared. I'm like, what's going on? Are the wolves in our house? So I went over to the window and I listened, to see like what's going on out there. And then I could hear something walking through the forest, right beneath my window. We have a little forest on our property. And oh my gosh, my heart sunk. I don't mind telling you, I was a little baby. I shut the window, I locked it, I pulled the blinds down. I ran. I got into bed, and I pulled the cover right up over my head, and I thought, oh my gosh, that was scary. And my poor husband, shout out to my husband over at Dove and Serpentera. He was like, what are you doing? It's so late. Why? Like, there's so many dogs outside, you know? So anyhow, I see the dog, I see the moon, and I almost feel like this is somebody that you have a good relationship with them, that you seem very connected to this person, but there's something about them that it's almost kind of like they live outside of the reality that you live in, right? Like they're living in some kind of delusion, or they have some illusion about about life, the way that they perceive things. And I don't think that this is necessarily a negative until it gets into having a relationship with somebody. And so I feel like for you, it's just kind of like a thing that you can't ignore it, right? They're living a different life. They have different goals. They have different desires and interests and so on. And for you, you're just at this point in your life where it's like, I'm not willing to change, the purpose of my life or how I'm living or what I'm doing for a relationship. When you're young, it doesn't seem like a big deal so much, right? We were learning, we're more flexible about things, probably a little bit more open-minded. And then you go through life, right? And you get a little older, and I don't know, the idea of like changing the whole way that you live to be with somebody seems like a lot, okay? Especially if it's somebody that, yeah, you care about them, you know them, you are fond of them even, but not necessarily to the point where you're willing to explore what those changes might need to be or what life would be like if you were together. So I don't see this actually turning into any kind of romantic relationship, but I do feel like there is a lot of love there. Okay, so maybe a good friendship. We also have the letters R-E, Ray, R-E, okay? And I want to... So I almost kind of get the impression of like a younger sibling or somebody maybe like you grew up around, like a kid down the block that you used to babysit. But I see a person here and a person here. And this one looks like a little younger, even almost like a little animal. It reminds me of a little fox. You can see the head here and the ears, and here's the body. And also we have the eye. You can see that eye, but they're following this person over here, and you can see the head up here, mouth wide open, right? Body right in here. Their arm is kind of forward, and these are the legs down here. Okay, now up here on top of the head, it looks like we have a ram. Okay, so probably Aries, right? And that's why I'm thinking that this is you. So you have this younger person who kind of always followed you around and always wanted to be hanging out with you and your friends and going on adventures with you. And I feel like for the most part, you are pretty receptive to this. But I think that at some point, maybe you grew out of wanting to hang out with like your younger brother or younger sister or the kid that you used to babysit or whatever. And I feel like that relationship kind of, there a chasm, right? Kind of this void became bigger and bigger and bigger. And I feel like, there's maybe almost kind of a little bit of sadness around this, right? And I don't know if you ever got back to being close with each other, and I'm assuming not. But I feel like now you kind of are going over it, and maybe there is this impulse to, reach out to maybe spend some extra time together, to go visit them, to, rekindle that relationship. And I feel like maybe you're trying to figure out how to begin that process, right? Because I don't know if it's just that this person is busy, maybe they're not very receptive, maybe their life is just, it's taken them elsewhere. But I do feel like this is something that needs to be done in this next cycle, right? So usually I'm like, nah, don't go backwards. Don't try to, get super involved with people from your past that maybe you're not really close with now. But I do feel like in this situation, it will end up being very beneficial to you, for both of you, okay? The other thing that we have up here is the house. So I feel like there's a lot of attention on like maybe doing some housework. We're going into spring pretty soon. We're going into fall. I was like, wait, what's the opposite one? Autumn, right? In the southern hemisphere. So good time to start decluttering, right? I've already started. My big thing right now is I'm cleaning out all of the drawers in the house. Getting them organized and decluttered and everything kind of put where it needs to be. So I'm doing 2 a day on top of my other chores, of course. But 2 a day feels manageable enough. There's a lot of drawers in the house, but, what are you going to do? So I feel like, we're all kind of collectively getting into this place where it's like, oh, okay, we've been through the winter, we've been through the summer. It is time to get this place cleaned up. Okay, so I do feel like maybe this is calling to you. And ultimately, I know that once it gets done, you feel amazing, right? Nobody can say they dislike a clean house, especially if everything is put away. It's not just thrown, like this is me, I'm pointing at myself, thrown in the front closet, just kind of like everything hidden, out of sight. No, everything kind of done to conclusion. And so I feel like this is kind of a calling for you. Also, we have the hummingbird right next to it. So I know that you're busy, motivated. That's the big thing. Staying motivated. Okay, so we have another why. This is the third why I have seen. So this is really, really re-emphasizing about you. You are very focused on developing yourself, developing your life, on getting things how you want them to be. And that's, I think, the biggest thing why you're not so receptive to this relationship stuff. But also maybe you're married. I mean, maybe this is somebody who just doesn't care that you are involved with somebody. And, they're in love with you. And they let it be known. Now, if you can hear my tissue, I apologize, but I am still sick, as I said before, and I appreciate you being understanding of all the sounds and things, and my voice is a little gruff. So we have a bird. It looks like a seagull or maybe like a what are those ones? Pelican. It is sitting on what reminds me of like the wood of a dock. And here's the bird. Okay. Now we also have a chair. We have an arrow. And it looks like maybe a person in a cape right up here. So I kind of feel like there is a almost like a instinctual like need to really sit down and just contemplate. That's really what it, to think things over. And listen, we live in a world where if you're sitting around thinking, people assume you're doing nothing, right? We have lost the art of contemplation, and we really need to get it back. We need one of those like change.org or whatever that website was. We need to get on it. People need to get back to sitting and thinking things over. Not distracted by other stuff, having the TV on, listening to a podcast, on the phone, whatever. Sitting for some amount of time, 15 minutes, considering, going over all the details, right? Thinking about how am I going to work this out? What should I do next? So I do feel like as this cycle proceeds, there will be opportunities here for you to really sit down and kind of go over all that you have accomplished recently, what's going on right now, and what are your plans for the future. Okay, so take those opportunities. Do not squander them messing around on the phone or, this is my problem. I just start cleaning stuff. Every time I'm like, okay, all right, I got 25 minutes here. I can, sit down. I need to go through some of the stuff in my mind, but I also have some clothes to fold. Maybe I can do it while I'm folding. Next thing I know, I'm on my phone reading or listening to a podcast and folding the clothes on the YouTubes, right? Well, sometimes we just have to, say, nope, this is my time to really consider, okay? And I think that's a big deal. That's going to be a really important theme in these next months to come, okay? Now, I don't know what it is you need to think about, but I think that you need the time to think. And that's the important part. We also have the number 5 up here, which is important. A number 5. So look for that. Now we're going to do 3 lucky numbers. And I do the numbers. I have had people ask number 6 because people ask for lucky numbers in the comments. So I just started doing 3 every reading. Number 20. We have 6, 20, and 62. 62. Okay, and now we're going to finish off with our self-care affirmation cards. And we'll stop where it feels right. Inner whisperer. I quiet my surroundings and listen within. I trust my inner whisper. And you know what? This is very in line with the contemplation, but also with the, your intuitive nature, of course. So, Aries, I want to tell you I love you, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's always fully my honor. If you want to like, subscribe, leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, if you want to comment some recommendations for TV shows, I would love to hear about that too. I just finished watching The Sopranos for the first time, and so good, so freaking good. But now I'm at a loss. I don't know what to put on. I have Dune to watch, and I really do want to watch that, but I don't know. I'm not like fully in the Dune mood yet. So, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm about to start watching like Breaking Bad again. I don't know. I haven't seen that in a few years. But I'm not sure. If you can think of anything, just put it in the comments. I'm willing to check it out at least. All right, Aries, I love you. I love you. I love you. Please take care of yourself. Wash your hands. Don't get sick like me. I've been sick on and off since Thanksgiving. Every year it gets like this. Well, the last couple years with my daughter starting school. Yeah, we've been getting sick pretty often, but you know, don't be like us. Wash those hands more than we do, apparently. And we even use the hand sanitizer and stuff, too. So, I don't know. I guess you just can't avoid it when you have young children. So, anyways, I love you. We'll talk soon. Good night. Good night.